Ready for in-depth discussions on everything from the court to the field, mixed with the business and culture that orbit the sports world. Whether it's the latest blockbuster trade or the societal impact of sports. Two Men On, with your hosts, Van Nunley and Fred Slow, with producer Isaiah Johnson on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Hey, yo, what it downtown right here in beautiful and historic Albuquerque, New Mexico. One Van Nunley here, joining me live and in person. One Zay Johnson. And we have a little tag here in the Facebook live stream that just popped up. That's weird. Well, anyway,
I can't get rid of that one.
Come hang with the boys downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico, Safehouse Distilling, corner of 7th and Gold. What's going on, Carlos? We got some feedback in the studio.
Can't hear us, Carlos? Uh-oh, that's no good.
That is no good. That's never been good.
For Halloween. Boy, Halloween was a doozy. Hope yours was better than mine.
Because he started a commercial. We're going. I'm going to call him and see. He's calling me.
Let's see.
Okay, what's going on now?
I just moved into a house, and I'm an idiot. So I forgot to get candy for the kids, and they start ringing the doorbell.
Okay,
and
so
then
the PC was turned on, like the light was red.
I just gotten one of those, you know, those Costco Gatorade that no human being could ever consume. I think it was. I'm not exaggerating. I think it was
on the top right of the board.
I had 2 of those bad boys. So I was giving out Gatorades to the kids, and the parents were loving it, thinking, "Oh, this guy's so smart." I'm gonna walk down the candy with. And I also had some Mick Wolfers, and I was throwing in there for the adults. I was the star of Halloween until that night.
Oh, okay.
When
so
I went
on you see that
on a date, like the ultimate blind date.
Duke City. Let's give this another whirl. You're listening to Two Men On 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. Van Nunley here. Isaiah Zay Johnson sitting right across from me. And back at the studio, pushing the buttons wildly incorrectly, is one Carlos, the real sombrero man, Tenorio the Deuce. What he lacks in talent and experience, he makes up for in passion and effort. So thank you so much, Carlos, for alerting us that there is an issue and working with Zay to figure it out. We have tens of thousands of people listening to us right now, and they're so excited every Friday. They got through another week. They had to slave all week at their disgusting cubicle that they hate so much, and digging ditches and digging graves and laying bricks and selling hot dogs. And here we are messing up the first 3 minutes of the program. But I tell you what, Carlos, we got it straightened out. You confident? You feeling sexy now?
We feel much better.
Okay.
We had it. We were messing with some stuff. We have the Lady Lobo game, obviously, after the game. So we're just trying to testing out recording on that. So everything's good to go for JJ Buck. And sadly, you and Zay Van have were the bearer of the opposite of that. So my apologies for that, but we're ready to rock and roll now.
Oh no, don't apologize. I've only been dealing with this kind of treatment my whole life, Carlos. Always number 2, always second fiddle, always the bridesmaid, never the bride.
Oh, I feel you on that one.
I'm the Scottie Pippen of broadcasters. This is how you treat me, Carlos.
I am Carlos Sonorio II, after all. So
Produce.
there is that.
Junior. He's a junior.
No. My dad and mom put second because they said it was royal for royalty.
Ooh.
El segundo.
Dos.
I love it.
Gonna have a lot of fun today at Safehouse Distilling downtown. I'm not gonna tell you when, friend of the show, but I'm gonna tell you to get behind that wheel and head down to Safehouse Distilling. When I say go, you head right down here, and I got 4 tickets tomorrow night at the Route 66 Casino Hotel, the Black Crows, the Happiness Bastards Tour. I think I could say that word out loud because it's on this ticket right now. Come get your Route 66 Hotel Black Crows. Some blues-influenced rock and roll going to be kicking out tomorrow night at Route 66 Casino. We got a 4-pack for you. And here's the thing. You got to come pick them up in person. They're paper tickets. And I'm going to tell you shortly when you can come down. It's probably going to be 5:01. I'm giving it away. 5:01. I'm going to tell you when. You show up at Safehouse Distilling. Hey, I'll double the pleasure here. You come down to Safehouse Distilling.
Don't say it.
I will give you 4 tickets to the Black Crows, and I will buy you a delicious snifter of Profit Share Bourbon.
I knew that's where he was going with it.
Oak.
Oh my.
Barrel aged bourbon, the best bourbon that's ever been made in the history of New Mexico. It is fantastic, and I want to share it with you, friend of the show. First one's on Van.
Oak aged?
See all these big barrels here to your right?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
to my left, but
Let me describe what's going on here to just the listeners and not the watchers. There are 3 tiers of oak barrels sitting right in the middle of Safehouse Distilling that you can come see for your own damn self, and they're filled with delicious Profit Share Bourbon being aged in
3
these
rows, 8
cast
columns.
barrels. And there are so many here. But guess what? They opened a bunch of these barrels already, and they bottled all the delicious bourbon in those barrels just for you. And you come down here, you want to sip, I got you, friend of the show.
So I've never understood. So how come anything I feel like we buy to eat or drink in America, if you can age it, it becomes like more expensive, more royalty, more unique? Why is that? Speaking of royalty, Carlos Sonorio.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see what the show. Yeah, why does why is that? Like aged meat, aged cheese. You know, what's the difference between aged and it going rotten or bad? I don't understand. I'm new to this.
Okay, yes, you are. And that was a deliciously and beautifully and dare I say cute question you just asked. Your ignorance is adorable in this situation. So as far as the bourbon goes, you put it in the mash, you heat it up, you blend it together, you filter it, you distill it, and then you put it in these aged oak cask barrels, and it gives it character, it gives it flavor, it gives it a new, unique integrity to the bourbon. As far as cheese goes, the longer you age cheese, the more lactose comes out of it. So the more character of the original cheese blend you have comes out of the cheese. As far as meat goes, that scares me because I think it's going to go mad and it's going to give you little bugs in your tum-tum.
Yeah.
That one I don't trust.
aged steak, aged beef, things
Yeah.
like that. I've never understood the big deal. I do know it's way more expensive though to get yourself an aged steak.
Aged milk is just cottage cheese.
Yeah, I
So,
would have never understood that one. I never understood that one.
Not everything aged is better. Wine, yes. Cheese, yes, to a certain point.
Mike Tyson.
Hot takes on this program, not always the case. Sometimes what we
Sometimes
say
it
on
does
this
age like
program
milk.
doesn't age well.
How
It
about
doesn't-
Tyson? How do you think Tyson's aging?
Well, beautiful segue, because that's obviously the subject that we have to tackle first
Mhm.
on this program, Zay. As Jake Paul, known YouTuber, entrepreneur, and kind of boxer, he's finally going to fight a real boxer. But in this situation, this boxer just so happens to be 58 years old.
You can't really, I mean, in Jake's defense, he's also hunting for the money. I think
Sure.
Tyson's hunting for the money. I do think going into this, it was kind of a game to Jake until yesterday when Tyson slapped him. Now, I guess Tyson says that when Jake climbed up on the stage, he stepped on his toe and he felt like he did it on purpose, which is what then warranted the slap. But what I think Mike Tyson displayed is that he definitely is in mode. He is not taking this fight lightly. And I don't think he's taking a dive for any sort of money.
Well, I mean, that would be a thing that you would say, since you just asked that question about aged consumer goods. This thing is scripted. This thing is WWE. None of these fights with Jake Paul involved have been real this whole time.
No.
But I have a glimmer of hope inside my heart of hearts in sports entertainment that this one is not scripted. And I think there's a caveat too, that you're dealing with Iron Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
One of the biggest stone cold killers in the history of boxing.
Yeah.
He is a menace to anyone who steps in the ropes with him. And I don't think that he will have the ability to go by a script. The first time Iron Mike gets punched in the face, he's going full rabid bulldog on Jake Paul.
Yeah, and with Jake's, Mike Tyson has said multiple times. I mean, when you look at the interviews, the press conferences, you know, he's already not that big of a talker. And back then, I don't think boxing had this sort of, you know, like cameras always in your face, microphones asking you questions. And even if they did, the answers weren't going to go viral or all over the internet. But Tyson doesn't seem interested in answering any questions. He doesn't seem interested in any of the clout that could come from this. He's almost to the point where his answers are really bad. Like he's not doing a great job at marketing. I think most of the marketing for Tyson is just the fact that he's Mike Tyson and he's trying to show that he is going back into that mode. Because remember, he explained like his mindset. He was like, I was scared before every fight. Everyone thought I was so angry and dangerous, but in my mind, like I was terrified.
Sure.
So I use that, you know, that scaredness or terrifying, whatever you want to call it, as motivation to not lose. And that's why we saw that monster. So I wonder if last night when he slaps Jake, if that was like another example of this guy is in that mode. He's in that quick fire, jittery mode where he's quick triggered. So I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, at the weigh-in last night, that got super weird. I was like, is this all a sham too? Is this just for the cameras as well? But I saw some footage after the fact that Jake Paul, after he was doing his stupid crawl thing up to Mike Tyson, when he popped up, he stepped on his foot.
Yeah.
He stepped on his foot. So Mike immediately slapped him. Like, what are you gonna do? The day before the fight, you're gonna dislocate your opponent's toe like some doofus?
And Mike says he thinks he did it on purpose. And now it doesn't look like Jake was doing that on purpose at all. I'm sure he maybe felt it, but in the moment he was like kind of like whoops. And he's looking Mike in the eye, and then the slap came so fast. And what makes it worse is Jake's mom afterwards. She's giving him a hug, and of course there's microphones around. And Jake's mom gives him a hug, and she's like, "F that guy, that little B word."
Those words.
Yeah, that to that guy.
Yeah,
that little B word.
That little happiness bastards tour.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And Jake's response wasn't anything like that. Wasn't co-signing it. So as far as if I'm Mike Tyson, I'm putting words in Jake's mouth now. So there's another thing that you add to the category of motivation to come out here and kill this young guy.
I mean, let's
a mockery.
Let's unpackage this a little more. Carlos, let's go to a break so we can come back and talk a little more Tyson Paul. You're listening to Two Men On, live from Safehouse Distilling, downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico. We'll be right back with more sports and sports-adjacent content. You're listening to 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This
Just search K.
Mike's hot.
Welcome back to the program, Duke City. Welcome back to Two Men On. Welcome back to 95.9 FM and AM 610 Knee Sports Animal. Starting off with the Fredless Friday, but I think he's on his way back from a Boys and Girls Club of Central New Mexico retreat. Now he's got a day job.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a big boy now.
He is.
He's a big boy.
He is. I miss the days. I miss the days when I knew Fred was. I just knew he was free at like 10 o'clock. But nowadays, I'm like, I think I need Fred for something. I'm like, oh, he's busy 24 hours now.
Oh God, we never stop working, especially Fred. We're always out here on the grind. Special announcement, friend of the show. I'm going to remind you later, but you show up to Safehouse Distilling and beautiful and historic downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico. You are the first person at the door at 5:01. I got 4 tickets to the Black Crows for you, and I'll buy your first cocktail.
And I'll let you know, those Black Crow tickets over on KKOB, out of every single thing, any type of ticket we've ever given away, the lines have never blown up as fast as they've been blowing up for these Black Crow tickets. So I definitely recommend you get them because they are not easy to come by as far as giveaways are concerned, because you have to be a very lucky caller to get them. So with it being as easy as just coming down to Safehouse and getting a drink, I don't see how you don't come through and do that one.
Also, if you don't drink, I support that as well. I will buy you a soda pop.
Yes.
That's fine. Also, it doesn't surprise me at all that people are blowing up the phones at KKOB for a bunch of white guys singing the blues. Of course, KKOB listeners are super stoked about the Black Crows.
Would you say, Carlos?
That's the target audience right there.
Yeah, that explains. I mean, and people were so excited. I'm calling for the Black Crow tickets. Oh, you're the winner. Yes. I'm like, oh, I'm glad I can make your day.
Looking at these tickets on a resale site, won't name it, but cheapest ticket, $99.
Wow. Whoa.
So you are saving up to close to 200. Well, that's counting fees too.
Yeah.
So you're saving close to 200 some odd dollars. And all you got to do is go downtown to Safehouse Distilling with a parking lot right next to it. It's not like you got to park a car.
Also, city parking. Just drop a quarter in the machine. No big deal.
There you go. And you get a free drink too, and you save yourself $200. This sounds like a win.
$212. Probably one of these margaritas might be like $12.
In this economy? Are you kidding me?
In this economy.
Well, drinks are going to be free coming up here soon in the future.
Yeah.
Wait till I take office. Half price margaritas all over the country. Inflation is over. We'll just fill up buckets of gasoline. Gasoline's gonna be free. Not a single cent out of your pocket.
If you would have said that, Illinois and New Mexico would have been the only blue states. And even that could be a reach.
Unpackaging the Tyson Paul fight a little more tonight. Like, I hate to say it, like what Jake Paul did in the world of boxing is genius.
It is.
It's breathing new life into the sport. Whether the competition levels aren't that high, whether the athletes involved aren't the best in the sport.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when you're watching a sport, you want to see the best of the best. You want to see the best two go at it. You want to see Yankees, Dodgers. You want to see Chiefs, Niners. You want to see the best two go at it. Jake Paul and a 58-year-old Mike Tyson are not the two best to do it. This should not be the biggest boxing event all time. But here we are. Millions and millions and millions of people will be watching this fight on Netflix.
And it's a great job by Jake, too, like you just said, because if you really look at it, so neither of them are the best boxers. But if you were to think of two of the biggest names that could hop in a boxing match, both of their names come up. Sure. And Mike Tyson, because he's Mike Tyson, and Jake Paul, because he's been, although staged or not, I do think a good amount are staged. I think the Tommy Fury fight was real, but Jake's knockouts have been highlight worthy. So he's box office. And then Mike Tyson, obviously, his name speaks for itself. I think it was a genius job for both of them. And also big credit to Mike, because I think a lot of us were worried about him and his health. But then when you look at him in these recent fighting videos and you see the way he's looking physically, it kind of eases a little bit of your worry, and you start actually giving him a shot to win against a 26, probably 27-year-old Jake Paul. I think he's my age, which is insane to think about.
It's a mockery to the sport that once was so beautiful.
Oh, he's taking it personal.
Long are the days of Albuquerque legends Bob Foster, Johnny Tapia, Danny Romero, Art Aragon, all out the window. All those guys fought for.
Darren. I was going to say Darren White actually was telling me a story about Johnny Tapia earlier. He says, I don't know
oh my God, can we repeat it on air?
Yes, we can. It's repeatable. It's repeatable.
I was like, there's stories, but I don't know
which story. There's so many.
No, so Darren says, I don't know if it was his first day, but he was new to the city. And he saw a kid riding a bike, and he talked to the kid, and he's like, yeah, you don't know who I am, do you? Like, my name's Johnny Tapia. And then he was like, no, I haven't heard of your name before. And he's like, well, I'm a fighter. He's like, well, I'm suspended right now for reasons. I think maybe for this, I don't know if it was for a year, how long it was, but he ended up, getting off suspension and invited Darren to one of his fights. Yep. And I guess his name was ringing even at the age of 16. So at 16 years old, this guy was knocking people out. So I think, because of that, Albuquerque might be invested as well a little bit. And even like, I'm from Illinois. When you think of Albuquerque, you think of fighters. Like, there's not an NFL team, there's not an NBA team. Yeah. You're like, those guys in Albuquerque are not like they're picking a fight, but like that's the sport that's popular here, is learning some sort of MMA. Yeah, you don't want to go out to a bar and look at the guy the wrong way because he's smaller and he's probably a skilled fighter 3 times out of 10. So
yeah. Does he have cauliflower ear? Are his knuckles scraped up? Don't fight people. Don't challenge people randomly in Albuquerque. Everyone's a fighter. You're either a fighter or a gangster, or hear me out, you're just from Albuquerque. Like, we have a fighting spirit in Albuquerque, period. Just like baseline life. Like, we're fighters here in Albuquerque. Albuquerque, New Mexico, in the state of New Mexico, there's an underdog mentality. There's a disrespected mentality. And so I think that's why Albuquerque, from multiple reasons, but this is a big one. We became such a big fight city. Yeah. Like, our ties to the history of boxing are so tight here. Then of course, our love of UFC here with, Jackson Wink and all the great fighters who have not only came from here, but also train here. Like, this is a deep part of our DNA here in Albuquerque, that we love boxing. We love UFC. We literally just love to fight. Yeah. Whether it's literally or metaphorically.
Yeah, I will say Jackson Wink is like a big part of the town. And especially with like John's got a big fight this weekend. So this is like a heavy fight in the weekend. And speaking of, Jake Paul's mom saying certain things that Mike Tyson could take personal, you go over to the UFC and then you see John Jones. He's like forcing a beef with Stipe, who's seemingly to be one of the nicest guys in the UFC. And then there's a little fight clip on YouTube where Stipe's talking about the fight, and he's talking about how John Jones called him out in front of a whole arena. And Stipe goes, bring it on, blank, bring it on. He says the B word. That's like a term a lot of us use without calling someone that word literally. Sure. And John Jones puts up an Instagram story of him watching that video, and he's like, you didn't have to call me that, Stipe. You didn't have to call me that. It's been respectful. He's like, everything was cool.
Has it been respectful?
Yeah, right. Sure. And he's like, you didn't have to call me that name. Now it's personal. He's been taking that and running with it. And they asked Stipe about it, and Stipe's like, I apologize if he was offended. That's not what I meant. I'm sorry, I guess.
Hey, Albuquerque. Oh, sorry, Carlos. Go ahead.
2 big nights for New Mexico in the Garden.
Oh, you beat me to it. Well done, sir. I think Albuquerque's going to do to New York what we just did to California last weekend.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Albuquerque marched into California, beat UCLA, beat San Diego State. Albuquerque's going to New York this weekend. John Jones is going to win. The Lobos are going to win again. Like, it doesn't matter what part of the country Albuquerque goes to. We represent.
And we fight. I say we. I just got here in last year, but I've been in New Mexico since 2019. So it counts a little.
Yeah, you wrap this up into your identity so fast.
Yeah.
I waited a decade. It was like, hey, Van, are you from Albuquerque? I was like, nope, only 9 years. Give me 1 more year. Now I'm up to 16, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm from here.
What I noticed, though, is I'm getting to that point where I'm starting to, in my mind, like Illinois is home. And I can't think of another place that I can call home. I mean, like here, I'm adulting here. So Albuquerque gets a little bit of the home. It gets a little bit of that taste for me because I'm going through new things here. So although I've been here for a year, I've gone through maybe like 5 years worth of experience just in this short time. And that's why I do know that Albuquerque loves to fight. And in the gym, I mean, geez, you're in the gym and the guys are in there lifting. And I wish I could just have a shirt on that says, like, I work for the radio station. I am not a guy in here trying to big dog you. I'm not trying to debo you in here. I may look angry. That's how I lift. But guys, they kind of give you that me nine. I see a little cut under their eye or on their nose or something. Right. I'm like, buddy, I'm not trying to fight you. I'm just sitting here trying to get a lift in like you. And I thought you were done with your set. So I was coming up onto the bench.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of machismo. There's a lot of bravado. There's a lot of posturing in the fight world. But from my experience, most fighters I know are all gentle giants. Like, they know the power that they possess, and they're the nicest people.
Yes.
Like, they work their asses off to get to the level they on. They're not going to ruin it by getting in some stupid bar fight or eyeing Isaiah at the gym. They're not going to ruin their whole career for that. Like, most of them are like absolutely lovely people.
Yes.
Like, obviously we hear about the outliers. Like, we hear about the dirt bags. Those are the ones that are in the news. But from my experience, and I've known fighters for 20 years, they're overwhelmingly some of the greatest people on earth.
Yeah. And one of the best things that, I don't know when this law came about or if something happened that made it become a thing, but like or how long you have to fight before this applies to you, but you actually have to like register your hands as a weapon. So a lot of them, you have to program your mind.
Yeah, that's not true.
You don't.
That's not true.
So I thought if you're like a trained fighter and you hit somebody, you can get charged with hitting like with assault, like with a weapon. That's
a common misconception. Obviously, you will be judged accordingly in that situation, but that's a common misconception. I love this conversation about the culture of fighting, and I want to talk about it more when we get back. Let's keep unpackaging UFC versus boxing and what it means to the sport, and especially here in Albuquerque. More fight talk when we get back. You're listening to Two Men On 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report.
End of the hour when at the 54.
Information about health.
Welcome back, Duke City. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Two Men On. Welcome back to 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. If you're watching on YouTube Live or Facebook Live or Instagram Live, not pictured is Zay Johnson because he doesn't know how chargers work.
My iPad's doing that weird thing where it comes on and then goes off. It's a bad charger, huh?
Not charged.
Yeah. It's plugged in though, so stand by.
I'll figure it out. Talking the world of boxing, talking the world of fight culture. A lot of NFL talk in the 5 and 6 o'clock hour. A lot of hit today on the program. Van Nunley here, Zay Johnson. We are at Safehouse Distilling, downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico. 5:01 p.m. We open up the doors, and the first friend of the show in the door gets 4, count them, 4 Black Crowes Happiness Bastards tour tickets at the Route 66 Casino Hotel tomorrow night. And this is the steal of the century. As Carlos just told you, these things are going for $99 a pop right now. And I'll just give you 4 of them because, well, I'm nice.
Very, very nice.
Some say
$99 discount plus a free drink. And also, 4 tickets, take the whole friend group. It's not like you guys have anything else.
You know how cool you're going to feel when you show up here and you get these tickets and you text the homies, hey, I got 3 for the Black Crowes tomorrow, bro. You in?
Not including me.
Bring that girl you've been hitting on. She'll be super impressed.
Words of wisdom. Yeah, I've never been lucky enough to win one of the contest or.
Well, now you never will. You work here.
Yeah, exactly. So I can't win these. If I'm lucky, if friends of the show aren't smart enough to come grab these, then maybe I'll be lucky enough to get some of these here.
Oh, if no one shows up, you could have them, Zay.
Okay.
I
Deal.
don't care if there's a conflict of interest with the radio station. You just have these tickets. I'm booked tomorrow night. I can't go.
I'm going to make it more intriguing. Another website with these tickets. Have them at one. Oh, Zay's back.
I'm back. I'm for now.
$179. The most expensive ticket going for $6,000.
What?
Yeah, $6,716 each. That's section VIPR Road CCC. But the average Joe tickets on this other website that I will not name, $179.
The $6,000 is insane. What does that package include? Does lead singer Chris Robinson give you a lap dance? Like, does he give you a nice little rub down, like a full body massage? What does this include for $6,000?
Wow. So this also excludes the $2,559 in fees you will have to pay. That's another thing, friends of the show, that you're forgetting.
Guys.
You don't have to pay fees because they're given to you.
I'm gonna have to teach you little idiots on how scalping works. They're looking for suckers, and they've already found 2 of them right now who think this is really existing right now. Come get some free tickets. Get offline. Whatever website that Carlos is on that we won't mention because they're not a friend of the show are ripping you off. You get 4 for free. Come down here, 5:01 p.m. Safehouse Distilling, corner of Gold and 7th. I will give you 4 tickets to the Black Crowes, and I will buy you a snifter of Profit Share Oak Barrel Aged Bourbon. You are lucky.
A snifter. Carlos, you should make it down before the show, after the show. And see if you can make it.
I have Lady Lobo basketball after this. Lobos take on Western New Mexico tonight at the Pit. If you're not going to tune in to JJ Buck on the call, head down to the Pit. There's plenty of tickets available. You get those at golobos.com/tickets. So,
who's favored?
I'm going to guess the Lobos in this one. The Lobos are 1-2 on the year, suffering a opening day loss to Northern Arizona on a buzzer beater and a loss to Texas at Texas Tech. But a lot of good things clicking for these girls going on. True freshman Maria Poe looking great out of San Bruno, I believe San Bruno, California, but she's out of California. True freshman standing at a whopping 5 feet.
Hold on. 5'3"?
5'3".
He says a whopping 5 foot. 3 inches.
3
Oh,
Okay,
this is
yeah,
right.
that's too long of an ellipsis when you're talking about something that goes after 5 feet. I was thinking like, oh my God, she's only 5 foot tall. Like, don't you qualify for government benefits when you're like 5 foot tall or lower?
I'm going to get you her exact height. But the girls are going to be Risa Poe, 5'2", out of San Bruno, California, by way of Sacred Heart Cathedral High School. She came in as a hero, and you'll hear that in our pregame show if you tune into us with JJ Buck about Risa Poe, who's tearing it up. And if you can't make this game, the Lady Lobos take on Gonzaga. That's right, Gonzaga taking a trip to the 505, take on the Lady Lobos here in about a week with
How
South Carolina.
exciting. And if you haven't heard JJ Buck do his thing, he is fantastic.
Yeah, very good.
Super talented guy, not only on the opening drive in the morning, but what he does for the Lady Lobos. He's the best in the biz, and we're lucky to have him. So shout out to JJ on that one. Jake Paul, Mike Tyson starts in about an hour and 15 minutes. The undercards will start pouring in at 6 o'clock. Not really exactly sure when the main event is, but the main event is going to be must-see TV. Iron Mike Tyson, one of the best to ever do it. It doesn't matter that he's 58 years old. It's deeply ingrained in his DNA. He is that guy. He cannot be stopped, even if there is some kind of agreement in between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Hey, you take a dive this round, I take a dive this round. We make it go a whole 8 rounds. We got so many people sponsoring this thing. We got to show the commercials in between different rounds. Like, we got to make sure that we see you in the corner drinking Prime energy drink. Like,
yeah,
whatever it may be. Yeah, whatever it may be, we have to sell this thing. We got to make some money. We got to make some cold, hard cash off of this thing. So don't kill me in the first round, Iron Mike Tyson.
No, one thing that's interesting about the whole Prime deal is I remember one of the biggest things Jake and his brother Logan got into a big fight about was, I guess Jake claims it wasn't him, but there was a guy that was promoting his fight. Like, it was in charge of promoting his fight and putting a lot of it together. And those guys, Logan tried to walk in with like some Prime drinks, some Prime stuff. And those guys told him, you can't have that here. And they also told him that, like, we can't do any of that marketing here. And Logan and Jake got into a big fight about that because he's like, you know, you're my brother. Why wouldn't you let me bring my stuff in? And Jake's like, look, dude, that wasn't my call. Like, that wasn't on me. You know, Jake, between those two, little side note, Jake acts like the older brother. Logan acts like the older brother in his own way, but Jake handles himself like the mature older brother who was spoiled by mom and dad and always got what he wanted. But for right now, I'd like to see if they got that resolved. I would think with Mike Tyson and the fight being, Logan would be allowed to promote his Prime stuff there, but I'm interested to see.
Well, let's put Paul family dynamics at the top of the list of things that I don't care about. And let's get back to Mike Tyson knocking this loser out. Like, this is, everybody in the world is going to be watching this thing. I predict this is going to be the most watched boxing match in the history of the sport. The numbers are going to be gigantic. Like, because it's not pay-per-view. You don't got to fork over $100. You don't got to fork over $59.99 or whatever. You just got to have a Netflix account to watch this thing. There's going to be so many people watching this, and all eyes across the world are going to be on this. Is it going to be some weird spectacle? Is it actually going to be WWE? Is John Cena going to come out with a steel chair and hit Iron Mike Tyson in the back? Is Logan Paul going to zip line in and drop kick Iron Mike Tyson and have a disqualification? Or is it actually going to be a legitimate, real boxing competition? I think it's just as likely that something weirdly insane happens as it is a real boxing match.
I agree with you, but there's one little thing that Mike said in an interview in the middle of the ring when talking about the fight. And he says, you know, my kids right now, they don't understand why their dad is special. But come Saturday night or Friday night, they're going to know why their dad is special.
I mean, their kids have internet access. So I think the kids will know everything about Mike Tyson as long as you go on to YouTube or whatever. When we get back, we're going to unpackage this just a little bit more. You're listening to Two Men On 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
We'll bring you back once it gets fixed, but it completely cut out. So I just have CBS going right now.
I wonder before it broke out, and I clicked on it. And somebody gave me advice when I first started playing the Facebook Marketplace game. They were like, if you're about to buy something, click on the teller to see what else they're selling. So I did.
CBS turning down. Hot mic.
Little tech diffs there. Elon Musk and Starlink are trying to sabotage us right now. I don't know if he knows how I voted, but I'll tell you what, he's not going to be happy about it. And so he's trying to sabotage the program. Starlink is going down right now, but I think we're back here with you, and we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back. We're going to have more Jake Paul, Mike Tyson talk, a lot of NFL talk in the 5 o'clock hour. I can't wait to see who Carlos and Zay are going to pick this weekend and what games are actually watchable. Round table in the world of sports as we talk sports and sports adjacent content for the rest of the program. You're listening to Two Men On 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is brought to you by Chili Tradition. in the park.
That's tough.
Man On with your hosts, Van Nunley and Fred Slow, with producer Isaiah Johnson on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Mike's hot.
Welcome back to the program, Duke City. 1 hour in the books, 2 hours to go. You're listening to Two Men On right here, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. 5 o'clock on a Friday, friends of the show. You did it again. You made it through another week. Hopefully you're still gainfully employed. You didn't tell your boss to suck it. Maybe you get another paycheck out of the books. It is the 15th after all. You're probably going to go out and get loose tonight. And where you should be getting loose is right here at Safehouse Distilling in beautiful and historic downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hey, bonus, you come down here to Safehouse Distilling. You're the first friend of the show who walks through the door. By the way, they're going to open up the doors in like 30 seconds here. First friend of the show, 4 tickets to the Black Crows at Route 66 Casino tomorrow night. On top of that, I'm so proud of my friend Chris Lurig, owner-operator of Safehouse Distilling, that I'm going to buy you some of his profit share bourbon, oak barrel age. It's the best I've ever had, and I want to share it with you, friend of the show. Get down here. First one is on me. Van Nunley here, Isaiah Johnson. We're both at Safehouse Distilling. We're about to have ourselves a little cocktail here in a minute. Carlos Tenorio back at the studio. You get nothing.
Womp womp. Womp womp womp.
All right, NBA fan. All right, sports fan. The future is upon you. You are witnessing greatness. You are watching a power shift in the NBA as it is over for everyone now.
Yep.
Victor Wembanyama just went Super Saiyan on all you people. And look, Zay, I've talked over and over and over again about how Victor Wembanyama is the truth. I've talked over and over and over again how Victor Wembanyama is going to be the MVP of the NBA every year for the rest of his career.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to shut down this league. He's the best in the business. He is a stone cold killer. He is the best to ever do it, and you're seeing it emerge right now.
You know, he says, I finally figured it out. That's what he said. And the box score definitely projects that. 50 points, career high. I think it was a career high in three-pointers made as well.
Career high points, career high three-pointers.
So the scariest thing about this is it's not like when he says I figured it out, it's not like he's gained a new skill. What we're seeing him do, he's had the ability to do the whole time. But I think now mentally he's now starting to turn, or at least for this game. We'll see what he does for the next few games. But I think he's turning the NBA into the international league he was playing in. I think he's turning the NBA back into the leagues that he's used to. And now mentally, if he starts to feel that way, that means his shot's going to start falling.
Sure.
If he stops looking at the NBA like the big bad league, that means he'll have more confidence to do certain things. He'll get more fluid with everything. And maybe even then he'll start applying some of the stuff he learned last offseason from guys like Kevin Durant and Joel Embiid. I mean, he trained with both of those guys.
Sure.
And that's like a hybrid mix between those two is what Wembanyama is. So it's definitely scary hours for the league.
Last game he played, by the way, he's playing the Los Angeles Lakers tonight. So if you haven't seen him play, this is going to be a fun one. The face of the NBA for the last 20 years, LeBron James, is going up against the new face of the NBA, Victor Wembanyama, and you got to watch this kid play.
You have to.
He's like, I mean, the nickname is accurate.
Yeah.
He's an alien.
Yeah.
He's like a legit cheat code. He's almost 8 foot tall. He can shoot three-pointers. He can handle the ball like a point guard. He's got great court vision. He can pass. He can dribble between his legs and behind his back. He's almost 8 foot tall, and he could handle the ball like Steve Nash.
Yeah, and he can also hit step back threes.
Yes,
like
that no one can block.
Exactly,
it's unblockable.
Literally unblockable. We call Dirk's fadeaway unblockable. We're gonna see what Wemby does with this step back of his, because I saw the Spurs set him a screen a couple nights ago. So imagine a guy who's almost 8 foot coming off of screens to shoot threes. Now there's really no shot you can defend the shot. It's just scary hours.
Once he gets comfortable, and especially like in the future, like I don't know what's going to happen for the San Antonio Spurs at the trade deadline this year, but once he gets some more help,
oh gosh,
he's getting double teamed every play, and he is putting up numbers like this. You mentioned the 50 points. You mentioned the 8 3-pointers. He didn't do that in an overtime game.
Yeah.
He did it in 27 minutes. He scored 50 points, 8 3-pointers, shot 18 of 27 from the field in 27 minutes. He's about to take over all of the NBA, and you should watch.
Definitely.
Just like Shohei Ohtani in Major League Baseball. I don't care if you're the biggest baseball fan in the world, sports fan, passive fan, anybody who likes to see the greatest do it, you got to watch Shohei Ohtani. Sports fan, I don't care if you're NBA fan, you got to watch Victor Wembanyama. He is an absolute freak.
So do you think, now not to start a whole comparison debate, but do you think Shohei is as rare in the MLB as Wemby is in the NBA, or do you think Wemby's more rare? I feel like
this is a good conversation, because I think Shohei is just a sprinkle more rare. Mostly because he hits at a top 5 in baseball level, and he pitches at a top 5 in baseball level. Victor Wembanyama is just doing things that somebody his size has never done before.
Yeah.
And he's still only 20 years old.
Yeah.
He's still only a quarter of the way from his second season in the NBA, and he's putting up numbers like this. This is going to be a wild ride that he's going to take us on.
I'd like to see how many guys in their second year in the NBA ever scored 50 points. And then I will also, if I do, when I pull up this list, I'm interested to see where those guys are now and how their careers turned out. Because if it's just a list of Hall of Famers, then I think this is set in stone here.
Well, how often do players bench guys? How often do like rotation
Yeah.
guys score 50 in their careers? Hardly ever.
Unless you're like Jamal Crawford.
I mean,
or
there's
something.
who could ball?
Yeah,
No shade on Jamal Crawford, but
he come off the bench and score like a starter. But outside of him or like a Lou Williams, yeah, no, a guy off, you're not going to be able to pull that off. So let me see, second-year players who scored 50, and then think of how many guys are scoring 50 off 8 threes in 27 minutes. But at some point, we're going to see him do that offensively and go have 6-7 blocks and have like 13 rebounds. Things that he does just because of his size, he's going to be doing. And it's going to be so rare to see all this put together because of his size and his skill ability.
I mean, we talk about it a lot on this program. Like, your sports team, your favorite team, blah, 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 should not dictate your happiness.
Yeah.
But I have been a relatively rabid sports fan since I was a child. And I've been watching every sport since I was a child. And I've seen Michael Jordan. I've seen Kobe Bryant. I've seen LeBron James. Watching Victor Wembanyama early in his career, there has been nothing like it in my lifetime. Like, I know I sound like old guy in the rocking chair on the porch right now, but I mean, all right, in your defense, listener, I'm literally wearing a cardigan right now. So I'm sorry to typecast myself. I am dressed like an old man right now. I've never seen anything like it. And there's just like 100% no doubt in my mind that he's going to be the best to ever do it.
Ooh.
I'm saying.
Ooh.
I am saying.
Okay, so here's what I got here. Youngest NBA players to score 50 points in a game. Number 1 is Brandon Jennings. So I think he just maybe caught fire.
Who could go? He could go.
He could.
Yeah, he didn't have the big career, but he could go.
He was 20 years old in 52 days. LeBron James did it. And that was in 2009. Brandon Jennings did it. LeBron then did it 20 years.
A bunch.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again.
I'm guessing this is his first 50-point game. He was 20 years old, 80 days. Then Devin Booker, of course.
Yep.
Devin Booker cracked 50, 20 years, 145 days. And now it is Wemby at 20 years, 314 days. So he's the 4th youngest to ever score 50 points. The list was pretty solid. Devin Booker, LeBron. I don't know about Brandon Jennings, but I think
don't
Wemby,
overlook that Booker game. That's the game he scored 70 points.
Really?
That's his 70-point game. Was Jennings scored 55, LeBron 56, Booker with 70.
He was 20?
Wow. When he was 20.
Yeah. How many minutes did he play?
I will pull up that right now.
Victor Wembanyama kept going. You think they're going to stop him? He got 50 in 27 minutes. Let me ask you, and then Carlos, I'm going to ask you the exact same question. I'm 42. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in the sports world and obviously the real world in my 42 years. Zay, you grew up a Kobe fan, right? And you've seen LeBron James. What's the vibe around mid-20-something sports fan when they're watching and talking about Victor Wembanyama?
He gets a different treatment than James Harden gets. Steph is maybe the only person that doesn't get the whole, they're just doing it because like the league's changed. Or maybe Kevin Durant doesn't get that. Steph doesn't get it. The stars obviously don't get it. But Wemby, I mean, you look at him and he instantly, he's not above KD right now. But historically, when you look at what he can do, you look at him past Kevin Durant. You look at him past, obviously not LeBron, but like there's nobody else who we view could do what he can do. Like we haven't seen it. We didn't get to see Wilt Chamberlain or, Kevin Durant's the closest thing we have to what we're seeing Wemby do. And Bol didn't really turn out how we thought he could turn out. We were hoping he would be the big deal. But no, we look at Wemby and we realize what we're seeing here with him, and we don't think it's a facade at all.
So same question to you, Carlos. Like you're even younger than Zay. You're 20. You can't even get a drink here right now at Safehouse Distilling in beautiful historic downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico, on the corner of Gold and 7th, which we have 4 tickets to the Black Crows for the first person that shows up. You can't even have a sip of a drink here. But what's the vibe in between your friends, your sports fan community, when they talk about Victor Wembanyama?
So first, the Devin Booker game, he had 45 minutes. So, I mean, there you go. But around my friend group, who I have mentioned very dearly and is friends of the show may remember, the UNM Dads friend group. We have a Spurs fan.
Not dads.
My buddy Grant
You gotta get laid
Atencio, and he is a big Spurs fan. But the vibe around Wimby last night in the group chat was it was something special when this happened. It was one of those games where we put our loyalties to the Kings, to the Warriors, to the Knicks aside for the night and just enjoyed it. When he came into the league, my buddy was very excited for the Frenchman. So, yeah, I mean, it's excitement. As a Warrior fan, I hope he succeeds, just not against the Warriors. But he is fun to watch. And even in the Olympics, if we look back at the Olympics, that game, that gold medal game against the United States, when my boy Steph Curry just decided to go off,
Sure.
Wimby still played great.
Yeah.
And think about the guys he was playing against on that USA.
The best in the world.
Yeah. So he's going to be special. It's going to be terrifying. And it's good for Spurs fans who have suffered a little bit. Obviously, everything on with Greg Popovich this year and his health and not knowing whether he's coming back. This is a good little look for the future. Dare I say a turn back to the late 2010s for the Spurs if they keep drafting right and building around Wimby? This could be scary. This could be very scary. The Spurs dynasty, I'm calling it right now. Give it 3-4 years. The Spurs dynasty will be back, and San Antonio will be challenging for a title, led by Mr. Wembanyama.
Yeah, and I
Every
don't
year.
think
They're going to be in the mix every year.
Yeah, and I don't think you're right, spot on too, Carlos. But here's also the thing, man. If you were to ask us that same question after he got drafted but hadn't played yet, the answer would be way different. Then you had your guys like, oh, he won't be able to do this, or he's not going to last, or he's going to get broken once
Too
Embiid.
skinny.
Yeah, he's too skinny. Yeah. Embiid's going to crush him. And Embiid did smoke him. I mean, the first time they played, Embiid scored 70 on him. Speaking of
child.
Yeah, but I think that game made him better. I haven't seen anybody else give him hell like that since Embiid did, and then even since then when they've played each other, that has not happened again. But at this point, it's inevitable. It's just a matter of when's he going to get comfortable, and once he gets comfortable and his shot starts falling, it's just everything else is going to open up.
Hard agree. The Spurs dynasty is upon us. They just need one or two more pieces, and then Victor Wembanyama is going to take over the NBA. A little more NBA talk when we get back. Then it's all NFL and randomness throughout the rest of the program. The boys are at Safehouse Distilling downtown on the corner of Gold and 7th. First one is on me, friend of the show. Get down here and have the best spirits in all of Albuquerque. You're listening to 2 Men On 95.9 FM AM 610, the Sports Animal.
Clear.
Right now, things continue to move slow westbound on I-40. The put-downs are going to start around Carlisle and Lassen.
Welcome back, Duke City. Welcome back to 2 Men On. Welcome back to 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. The boys are live from Safehouse Distilling downtown, corner of Gold and 7th. Come have the best spirits in town. Van Nunley here, Zay Johnson joining me, Carlos Tenorio back at the studio, and we're going to have a little live taste testing here before we talk about nepotism. I have myself right here a little snifter of Profit Share Bourbon's special edition oak cask barrel aged bourbon. I like mine straight with no water. I want all the notes. I want all the flavor. I want all the character.
All the things.
But taking it easy on you, because I know that you don't have the same palate that I do.
Yeah.
You have yours on the rocks.
Yes.
Okay. So what I want to do is I want you to take a sip. And I want you to describe what you're tasting, what you're feeling, what it reminds you of, how it makes you feel live on air. So we're doing a live taste testing. You have your sip right now.
Okay.
We're having a live taste testing of Profit Share Oak Barrel Aged Bourbon here at Safehouse Distilling.
What was the name again? Profit Share.
Profit Share. And Oak Barrel Aged.
Oak Barrel Aged.
There's a bunch of different kinds. There's single cast. There's high gravity. There's the regular Profit Share bourbon, which is fantastic. But this one's my all-time favorite. It's the best. It's the best bourbon that's ever been made in New Mexico.
Okay.
Get you a little sniff.
Alrighty. Yeah.
Give you a little hint of what you're about to have. And don't take a drink. Take a sip. Let it just go right over your tongue. There you go. All right, so when you have a drink, Zay, I'm assuming you don't do bourbon straight.
No.
But tell me what you experienced. What was that like?
It tasted like Profit Shared Oak Barrel Aged bourbon.
So you got a little note of the oak barrel age, which is delicious, and it's so smooth. This is 100 proof. This is 50% alcohol, and it doesn't taste like it's 100 proof because it's so smooth. It's got little notes. The character of some vanilla, some smooth caramel, maybe a little bitty kind of bitter element, just a little taste of clove.
I want to say woody, but I feel like
Very
that's
woody.
oaky.
That's the oak. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what you age it in the oak, and it gives it that woody character to it.
Oaky like sunglasses.
Carlos, you can't have any because it would be illegal for you to have some.
Well, that's why I have my nice ice cold, straight from the tap water.
You can even filter your water.
We're gonna. Well, it's from the.
That's the
cooler.
side note thing. That's the best water in Albuquerque.
out of the fridge.
No.
Cumulus.
The little water machine.
The water machine.
Cooler.
Sure. Yeah. Double filtered.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a double filter.
Yeah, for sure. We're lucky to have one.
Yeah, seriously. That's one of the benefits of the job.
Carlos said straight out of the tap. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's
Robert F.
I'll
Kennedy
tell you
Jr.
what,
would slap you in the face for drinking all that fluoride right now.
I was going to say, you can really taste the hint of fluoride. Nice and cold. Takes me back to my winter in Montreal this past year.
A little light flex.
Okay.
Great water. And you too can have it if you join us on the Cumulus team here.
A little advertisement there.
Well, you keep messing up the audio in the first segment. There's going to be an opening. So Bronny James got sent down to the G League, Zay, which you're very well aware of. He's your all-time favorite player. So Bronny James gets sent down to the G League, and it was announced that he will only play home games.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. You try to make him as normal as a player as you can if you're in the Lakers organization. The obvious is the obvious. He's LeBron's son. But when it comes to the Lakers organization, you're expecting them to be the ones to make you feel like a regular NBA player. You want them to treat you like the others. And that's been the whole thing. That's what allows you to get along with your teammates and your peers and not be getting the treatment that the fans who hate on you may give you from your teammates. But when you get more special treatment, and they say, oh, he's only doing this, he's only playing here. It just adds in to the conversation of being hard on this kid because his dad's LeBron, because you don't think he deserves it. And I don't understand exactly what the motive is here. And plus, playing on the road is a skill in its own. I mean, the Laker fans aren't going to scream the things at him that the road fans are going to. Like, the road fans, if he goes on the road, they may treat that like a regular season game. The stands might get packed, because they're not going to see Bronny when the Lakers play. So you're only going to get to see him in the G League games.
I mean, it's obvious nepotism. We've talked about it on this program so often. I mean, there's no other reason in the world why a college freshman who only scored 5 points a game is going to get a guaranteed $2.2 million contract unless your dad is LeBron James.
Yeah.
Like, he was drafted for that one moment.
Yeah.
Him coming off the bench and entering the game at the same time. It is historic in NBA. I don't want to downplay how cool that was in the history of the NBA. But now that moment's over, it's time to start playing basketball.
Yeah, it's time to get back to it.
It's time to start earning that $2.2 million contract. And then now, like, him not traveling, him not taking the bus, him not flying commercial with the rest of his G League team. Like, this just reeks even more of this exact same nepotism that got him here in the first place. Like, because, the first few games he played with the Lakers.
Yeah.
Like, he traveled with the Lakers. He got a taste of that first class private plane life, that budget that he gets, that per diem, that personal chef. Like, he got a taste of that life. And he got sent down to the G League, and then they're like, oh, I'm not traveling. Like, come on, man.
See, do you think he wants this, or do you think it was more like, hey, Bronny, so we're only going to, I wonder if there's been any explanation for this. Like, have they gone into this, explain why to the media? I know it's not our business, but, like, I just couldn't imagine that Bronny is wanting to play the road games. LeBron is not having any part to do with this. Like, I think LeBron definitely had signed off on it. And, when it comes to LeBron's table, I wonder if he handles these things almost like that cool uncle that's not trying to seem like he's over strict. It's like, oh, I don't care. You don't have to ask me. Yeah, we do.
Well, whether it's him or not, like, he's got a whole team.
Yeah.
So his whole marketing team. He's got a production company. He's got a marketing team. He owns everything. He is bigger than just a basketball player.
Yeah.
And that reach that he has, it doesn't have to come straight from him. It could be Maverick Carter.
Yeah,
it could
seriously.
be any number of other people. It could be his wife sitting in. It could be his wife sitting in.
She's a wild card.
Yeah.
Because she has a lot more pull than I think a lot of us know, because she does a great job at staying out of the, out of the spotlight, under the scenes. I don't think LeBron would do anything to put her out there, but it could be her too. She could be like, I don't know why I also doubt it. I don't know what the reason is behind this.
I mean,
It's ridiculous.
He literally sold out his first game.
Yeah.
That's never happened. That's never happened in a G League game. His first game in the G League, he sold it out because this is must-see TV.
Yeah.
Like, people want to see what LeBron's kid is going to turn into, even if it's the G League.
It's just, rather than it being like a marketing thing, it's just my brain keeps telling me that this is in some way to protect. It's like some type of protective move. I don't know what they're trying to protect, if they don't want him hearing the road crowds.
Oh, he's going to get roasted.
Yeah.
100% roasted.
I wonder if that's what it is, but that's a whole nother red flag. That's like, why are you in the NBA if you can't even handle that? Like, just be the least of your worries. So
who's the Draymond of the G League? Like, who are they protecting Bronny from? Like, who's the Rudy Gobert of the G League? Who are they protecting Bronny from on the road? Is like this home games only?
Your boy Grayson Allen. Who's the Grayson Allen?
Who's the Grayson Allen? Yeah.
I want to see
Jalen House. How about that one?
Yeah, Jalen House locking his ass down.
He would. I can't wait to see that matchup, because Jalen is going to put him in his place. He's with the San Diego Clippers at the moment.
San Diego Clippers.
The San Diego Clippers.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
that was the original home.
Let me see if
Clippers,
there's a reason behind this. Yeah, it is.
It's so stupid, in my opinion. One, if you wanted him, you could have just signed him as an unrestricted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
Two, I don't think he's starting on a majority of NCAA teams right now. averaging 5 points. As he was after his last season at USC. I think JT Toppin was more deserving of being drafted than Bronny James was in this last NBA draft. And then not playing the road games. Are you kidding me? Like, I get it's not the luxury flights. I get it's the bus. I mean, I'm somebody that's worked in minor league baseball for 4 seasons. It's not the most glorious thing being in the minors, but it is what it is. That's what makes you a good player. That's what's going to add character. So deal with it. Suck it up. Be a man. And if you can't get thick skin in the NBA and you're going to play against guys like Draymond Green, like you mentioned, he's going to be screwed. He is screwed.
Yeah, and breaking news, by the way, also 2 of the Black Crow tickets are gone. You have to get here to get the next
we got 2 more. Yeah, we had the first friends of the show to show up and grab tickets. They were nice enough to only take 2.
Yes.
How about that?
So we got 2 tickets left. And another little note about this. Here's how you know it's a big deal. Brian Windhorst has been the number 1 guy. He's been following LeBron around his whole career. That's how Windhorst has his career. I'm sorry to say it, but that's literally what it is. He has always been like the LeBron insider. And he's even critical of this idea. And he goes on and he says, like, I don't understand. He says, I don't know whose idea it was, but obviously the Lakers are fine with it. They're doing it. On this particular instance, I think that's gone too far. And I don't think it benefits Bronny. I don't think it benefits the South Bay Lakers. And I don't think it benefits LeBron at this point. And at the end of the day, that's all it should be benefiting. Anything involving Bronny should benefit Bronny, the team, and LeBron. I mean, if we're going to ride this nepotism train, that's the only way to keep this in the public eye is acceptable.
Yeah, I don't think he's got the chops to be, and I hope I'm wrong. I just don't think he's got the chops to be a contributor in the NBA. Like, I mean, obviously he's got some great physicality. I mean, he's got a great basketball IQ.
Yeah.
He's LeBron James' son. Like, he's going to see the court like nobody else. Like,
yeah,
literally the best coach in the history of basketball is your dad. Like, but the only thing that this benefits is the bottom line of the Los Angeles Lakers. If you think this is any more than a publicity stunt, if you think this is any more than selling commercials and selling jerseys and selling shoes and selling high-ticket events for meet and greets with LeBron and Bronny, you are a fool. This is a marketing plan. This is not a basketball move. I mean, how many times in the history of the NBA, how many times does a late second-round pick become a NBA All-Star or a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
It is insanely rare.
Yeah.
Like, the NBA is one of the most top-heavy professional sports organizations that exist. Like, every year there's 2, there's 5, there's 10 tops who are going to be real contributors every year. And the guys at the end of the second round, those are all lottery picks.
Yeah.
Those guys are going to be at the end of your bench, or they're going to be in the G League, or they're going to get a quick paycheck and they're going to go to Europe and be the best player. They're going to go play in Greece. They're going to go play in China.
Or Lithuania.
They're going to play in Lithuania, and they're going to be the best player on their team somewhere else.
As of 2024, only 1 Hall of Famer has come from the late second round NBA picks since the 2-round draft format began in 1989. Manu Ginobili.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's still dunking.
Around 1999. Nikola Jokic, 41st, 2014.
Oh, wow, yeah, he's on the Hall of Fame.
Dennis Rodman, 27th. Spencer Hayward, 30th. Alex English, number 23.
Okay, that's if I mean, I don't want to diss on English. It fell off kind of hard there. I mean, you can tell where it's projecting. The first, like, all the beginning of those things, like, yeah, all those guys were super, super legit. Jokic is going to be a Hall of Famer, without a doubt. Yeah, that's a good list.
We're going to wrap up our Bronny talk, and we get back just to sprinkle more nepotism.
Yeah.
But this kid might be legit. The truth might be upon us. And he comes from another future Hall of Famer seed. You're listening to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the sports animal.
This audible.
Welcome back to the program, Duke City. Welcome back to Two Men On. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy payday for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You want to spin that cheese, come down here to Safehouse Distilling, corner of 7th and Gold. I'll tell you what, first one's on me. And if you're on your way here right now to get those last 2 Black Crows tickets, bad news. Oh, 2 more friends of the show showed up. They nabbed them. They're gone. But you know what's still here? You know what's still here? Delicious spirits.
Yes.
Delicious cocktails. Delicious pre-made Teller vodka lemonades. It's all here. You know what else is here? Fellowship. You know what else is here? Fun. You know what else is here? Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
Yeah.
I guess it's gonna be here too. Actually, that's everywhere you go.
Yeah.
Now that it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
It's
seriously.
they're gonna be showing that at Allsup's on Zuni.
Pull up to all subs, watch the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
We
Get some gas too.
We talked a little Bronny James last time, and like I have my trepidations, I have my worries. I don't think he's going to be that dude. I'm rooting for him because it'd be a way cooler story. But one son of a baller, your dude, Cayenne Anthony, looks like the real deal.
Oh yeah.
And then one of the coolest moves I've seen in a while, he's going to his dad's alma mater.
Yeah.
He just declared for Syracuse.
Yes, he did. And Carmelo has already put up the little tribute video, staying in the family Syracuse. I think he's the real deal. I think he's a real deal. And honestly, Carmelo, he was big. He wasn't huge. But, historically, I mean, Kobe said that Carmelo was the hardest player he ever had to guard.
Sure.
And he guarded KD, LeBron, Tracy McGrady. You can go down the list, AI. You can go back to the early 2000s. He says Carmelo was the hardest person to guard. And, yes, he was big and strong. But Carmelo, like Kobe and a lot of other good mid-range players, they know how to get to their spots. And when you're a good mid-range player, you know how to break the game down and say, okay, I need to get to this spot so I can shoot my shot, or I need to do this and have this footwork, because it's harder to get off a mid-range shot because obviously more contested.
Yeah.
So rather than being LeBron's son and having to learn how to be good at everything, great at everything in order to mimic your dad, all Cayenne needs to know how to do is get to his spot and hit shots. Now, he can do more than that, but as far as offensively, when you are the pupil of Carmelo Anthony, it is next to impossible to not have a scoring ability. Carmelo was a scorer. That was his thing. And I think that Cayenne, who has dominated a lot of tournaments that he's been in, I think he's going to go to Syracuse and be a contributor early in his college career. He might be one and done. Probably will be one and done.
Oh, I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, 100% sure.
100% sure he's going to be one and done. But I hope he doesn't have the same misfortune Carmelo did. Because Carmelo was always 3rd best player, 4th best player in the NBA, and he was never on a team situation, to where he's he could really shine. He was always the best player on a bad or slightly above average team. He never got the shine he deserved, so he just looked. Historically, I mean, you look back on his career, he just looked like a scorer. He looked like a ball hog. He looked like a compiler, but that's not the player he is. And anybody through his generation will tell you Carmelo, that's not the player he was. He just had the misfortune of being on crappy teams all the time, and he had to elevate them by himself. But so Cayenne, I know that's not how you pronounce it, but I love it so much, I'm going to lean into it. So Cayenne versus Bronny, it seems like Cayenne has a real shot on being an NBA contributor.
Yeah, oh yeah. I think it's going to become a Cayenne versus Bryce thing. And also what helps Bryce out is he's not the youngest, but he's the youngest brother, so he's younger than Bronny. So with Bryce, you have the ability to, even now, what Bronny was doing at your age. The type of workouts you're doing at your age. You can look at Bronny and decide what you have to do to make sure you won't struggle the same way as Bronny. He's also bigger than Bronny. So although Bronny's in the NBA already, I think when it's all said and done, we'll be comparing those two rather than comparing him to Bronny. But one thing about Carmelo, and the Laker fan in me has to point this out, I get it wouldn't have been the best match, but when Carmelo chose New York, the Lakers wanted him.
Of course.
Kobe wanted him.
Sure.
The Lakers wanted him. And I get why he chose New York. It was big market still. You can still build something there. Were they –
and they tried. They just failed.
Yeah, they had Stoudemire. The Knicks had some good teams.
They tried. They were so close.
They brought his boy JR over from Denver.
Yeah.
And the Knicks were a good team. One of my favorite – I don't know why, but I'll never forget. One of my favorite NBA games, I think it was because of the colors, was the Lakers versus the Knicks. It was a Christmas game. I believe it was 2012. And the Knicks had this all orange on and the Lakers had all white on. And it was an awesome game. And Carmelo showed out. JR showed out. But, yeah, I think Cayenne, whoever we're going to go with, I think he's going to do very well in this NBA because it's all about scoring. Like, if you're not a shutdown defender, you don't have guys in your ear like, oh, he scores, but he can't play defense. Unless you're trying to compare somebody to the GOATs.
Yeah. Also, he's going to come in with, like, significantly less pressure.
Yeah.
Carmelo's your dad, not LeBron. Yeah, all you got to do. Oh, you just got to be a team player and win some games? Like, oh, my goodness. What a lovely, delicious low bar that I get to jump over.
Yeah, and if he's terrible at defense, they'll be like, well, he's Carmelo's son. Who cares? He scores 30. Like,
whatever.
who cares? Yeah.
I think it's cool. Like, I love, like, you're going to experience this more and more and more as you get older. But I love seeing, like, the younger generation of professional athletes that you grew up with and seeing their kids come through. Like, obviously, I want to see, like, one of ones. You want to see, like, something super special happen. But still, like, as you age, and you're like, oh, his dad was a baller.
Yeah.
Oh, his dad could go. Like the Lobos last year with Jamal Mashburn Jr. and Jalen House.
Yeah.
Like, that's really cool. Both their dads played in the association. Like, that's like an extra level of interest that you might not have had before. What I have an interest in is Tyson Paul.
Yeah.
And it is coming up in 15 short minutes, and we're going to preview it right when we get back. A little bit of boxing talk on the program after we pay some bills. You're listening to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal.
This report is sponsored by
Clear.
95.9 FM and AM 610. The Sports Animal.
Mike's about to go say.
Sorry. Thank you for that. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Two Men On. Welcome back to 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. We're talking a little bit about cologne during the break. So, a lot of the fans, friends of the show, come hang out. Right? We have a lot of people around us all the time, and they know that like off the air talk is just as good or not better than the actual program. And one thing we're talking about is cologne, because you got a new cologne today.
Yes, I did. I got the most mainstream cologne, that Aqua Gio di Armani.
Aqua di Gio.
Yeah, Armani. I got that one, and I saw online had good reviews. The thing about colognes is you can read all the reviews in the world, but unless you're really, really experienced, can you maybe read a description and have an idea of what it smells like? So I kept seeing this one all over the place. That it's one of the best ones. Get a lot of compliments. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to order it and see what it smells like. And I opened it and I smelled it and I was like, wow, this, I can see it's like a very light but also strong, like a little tropically a little bit.
Let me give you some advice.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I had to learn this the hard way as a young man who wore too much cologne. Your scent is to be discovered, not announced. So if you walk into a room,
like that.
If you walk into a room and everybody's like, "Oh my God," like, "Oh, he's wearing so much GD cologne," or if you get like inside somebody's bubble and it's like, "Oh, you smell nice." So like that's the big difference.
Okay.
So your scent is to be discovered, not announced.
And what I've learned recently too, I learned this a few months ago. Old employee, co-worker, whatever you want to call it, Jared Hart, he had gave me a little small sample size of his cologne he had, and he's like, this is very, it's potent. Most colognes have like 20 layers. This one's got in the 50s. It's got like 50 layers of smells here. It comes from a flower in the UK.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, awesome.
Knowing him, this is breaking the fourth wall a little bit. Knowing him, that's literally something he would say. That doesn't surprise me at all.
So I try a little bit. I did 2 sprays. And I remembered like people in the studio where Carlos is now, people would walk in to the general area and the KKOB and KNML studios and say, I can smell a cologne. And I only do 2 sprays. And I'm like, I remember there's other times I'd have to do like 4 or 5 to feel a certain thing. But this one, I was like, all right, 2 sprays is it. 3, too much.
Well, for cologne, you're going to get used to it. That smell is going to be normalized to you in your nose. So don't ever overdo it. If you're smelling yourself, it's like double to the other person.
Noted.
Like what I used to do is usually just 2 sprays. But if you wanted to go 3, this is what you do. All right. So when you get out of the shower, after you dry off, 1 mist. No, listen. No, this is real. This is real talk, dude. This is real advice. Hey, Carlos, hey, pay attention. This is for you too. Real talk. When you get out of the shower, you're clean already. All right.
Yeah.
You dry off. 1 mist in the bathroom. You walk through it. Okay. In your beautiful human form. All right.
Yes.
Just let it just fall upon you. Okay. You get ready. You do the rest of your hygiene. Blah blah blah. And then what you do is the wrists.
Okay.
1 little squirt on the wrist. Rub the wrist together.
And then just disperse.
Okay. And then it's just like you got this little aura now. Okay.
Yeah.
And then right before you walk out the door, another mist on your clothes. Don't spray it directly on you. Mist in front and walk through it.
And then walk right out the door.
That's it.
And then boom,
That's
the world is yours.
You're not going to punish people's noses with your scent. It's going to be light. It's going to be delicate. It's going to be fantastic. That is my life advice for you 2 young men right now. When we get back, we're going to talk a little Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. Then it's NFL throughout the rest of the program as we unpackage the NFL weekend. Maybe a little sprinkle of Lobos too. Who knows? 2 hours in the books, 1 hour to go. You're listening to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. 2 hours in the books, 1 hour to go here on 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, The Sports Animal. We're live from Safehouse Distilling, downtown Albuquerque, New Mexico, on the corner of Central and 7th, sipping a little Profit Share bourbon, oak barrel aged. It's the best whiskey I've had in my entire life, and it is unfair that this gets to come from right here in our home in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We get this bestowed upon us. We are so fortunate. Also, sports fan. So fortunate tonight that we got this crazy ass event.
Crazy.
It is crazy.
The closer it gets, the crazier it really is.
Crazy event. 3 undercards, and then your main event tonight, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson, starts, and let me count it down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are live on Netflix, an unprecedented event about to happen on your streaming device as Mike Tyson, one of the greatest to ever do it, an icon in my lifetime, will take on legendary douchebag and Instagram, YouTube personality Jake Paul, who's become a semi-legitimate boxer. This is going to be wild.
You know, Netflix right now, they're kind of like that guy in high school, that football jock who has the girl all the other people wanted, and they're just sitting on top of the mountain right now like, yeah, you guys see me. That's right. I got her. You see everyone looking at the girl? Yeah, that's right. She's mine. Because right now you have this huge event, one of the biggest, you think could be the biggest.
I think it's going to be the most watched boxing match in the history of the sport.
And Netflix is like, guess what? If you just so happen to want to watch Breaking Bad reruns a month ago and you bought this subscription, you also get this Mike Tyson, Jake Paul fight while you're at it. And none of the other streaming services can even get a hold of it. This isn't, maybe some of your little bootleg websites, but this is only on Netflix, and they are the top dogs right now to have this event.
And to take nothing away from Jake Paul athletically, he's put in the work. He is trained about as hard as a human can. He is, I don't want to say he's like a legitimate top shelf boxer, because there's so many guys out there who would beat the ever-loving everything out of his ass. But he, as far as like a competent boxer go, he's legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, he can fight. The dude can fight.
Yeah, and every time he's not fighting, I have my own opinions on him, but then when I'm watching him again, I'm like, hold on, this guy's dangerous. And the more the fight goes on, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I'd want to see this guy in a street fight. I don't know if I want to cross paths with Jake Paul. I mean, he definitely knows how to throw that right hand. If you're Mike Tyson, I think you have to end this fast. I think if this goes the later rounds, I know Mike's cardio can be high, but Jake seems to really catch people with their hands down when it gets into the later rounds, because he does not have the best, cardio either. He gets fatigued, but also when he gets fatigued and the other fighter gets fatigued, he still has that right hand, and that's when he gets a lot of his knockouts. So Mike Tyson, you got to get him out of there fast. Don't gas yourself, but you got to get this guy out of there fast. I think if you're Mike, you throw your best combos fast. If this was an NFL game, you come out with your trick plays, your best plays fast. You want to get a big lead and make the other team quit, so therefore you can kind of cruise to the rest.
Well, what you're saying right now plays exactly into his hands, because these are only 2-minute rounds. It's not the traditional 3-minute rounds. And I don't know, like Zay, because you've played football at a high level, you know how hard it is to play at peak athletic, just all the way up to 11 for 3 minutes. If you're exhausting every muscle in your body for 3 minutes straight, that's an eternity.
Yeah, it is. It is, especially even after 30 seconds. Yeah. But when I say his best combos, I mean whatever approach you think can take out Jake. Like, I don't think it's going to be a come up and be faster than this young guy. You might be able to hit harder, but I don't know if Mike is stronger than Jake. So I think what you want to do is, if you feint this way and then he's gonna drop his hand and you might catch a lick on him, then do that. If you think this certain combo will get through and get home, hit that combo. I think the worst case scenario is showing all your cards too early. But if you're Mike and it gets to round 4 or 5, I mean, unless he does this reverse, what if he comes out slow and he comes out reserved, trying to see
the old Muhammad Ali
yeah,
rope-a-dope.
exactly.
Yeah.
See what Jake
Let
has.
Jake Paul like exhaust all of his energy.
Yeah, and then Mike starts throwing his 1-2 to the body
no,
head
he's
hook.
58. He needs to knock him out in one of the first couple rounds. Like he has to knock him out early. That's the only way. He's 58.
Yeah, we're on the same page there.
Yeah,
Think about this for a second.
What's
When
up?
Mike Tyson was born, LBJ was the president.
Yes.
When Paul was born, Bill Clinton was the president. That's a big disparity.
Sure, that's huge.
So to put that in like perspective, that's like if LBJ's ghost came and fought Bill Clinton right now. Like that's, you know, in their primes, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's like that's a big age disparity.
Sure.
And like I said earlier in the show, it's a mockery to what was once a beautiful and amazing sport. I will not be tuning in.
Carlos, I mean, we talked about that earlier, that like what Jake Paul is doing to the sport of boxing is both adding and taking away at the same time. That's awesome that they're getting all this extra attention on the sport of boxing, but also he's watering it down. Like this isn't real. His matches aren't real. A bunch of burnout MMA fighters fighting other celebrities. Like this isn't, it's not real boxing. This isn't. And I will say it again. I've said it all day. I've said it all week. This will be the most watched boxing match in the history of the world. And these aren't the two best boxers in the world.
Yeah, and here's another little fun fact. Jake Paul's dad, Greg Paul, I think that's a rare name I can say first and last on there. He's 61 years old. So he's 3 years older than Mike Tyson. So Jake Paul is literally fighting someone the age of his father. So when you put it into perspective like that, and now with Jake approaching his 30s, it's not like you're 20 and your dad's in his, your dad's getting old at this point. So Jake,
what you're saying is he just wants to beat up his dad.
Yeah, taking it out on Mike
instead of beating up his own father and probably getting thrown in jail. He gets to legally fight Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
So he gets to beat up his dad and a black guy.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh
I
my
think
God.
so.
This is awful. You're bringing some like extra levels of psychology into this thing that I didn't expect to happen.
That's what I see. What I really want to know about this fight is who's going to land the hardest punch. Like, I want to, in hindsight, look at what was the highlight. What was the best punch thrown from Mike? What was the best punch thrown from Jake? And eventually, like, I want to see, will it end in a knockout? How will it look? Well, like, if Mike comes out here, this is what we're not thinking about either. Mike comes out here, say he hits Jake in the ribs. Jake drops his arm. Boom, gets a knockdown. Wins the fight. Something crazy like that. If you're Mike, you give him a rematch. I mean, that $20 million, it might put. But do you go for a rematch? And at that point, now everyone gets to see Mike twice. Now that fight would be even bigger. That's one of the rare fights where I feel like the sequel for sure would be better than the first. If Jake wins, no rematch.
For Netflix, I don't even know what the membership is. I don't check my account.
We'll say $8.99.
Is it $8.99?
That's a random guess.
$11.99 for like completely unlimited. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah.
For $10 a month, and going to pay Jake Paul $40 million. They're going to pay Mike Tyson $20 million, and then they get a cut on like whatever extra sells they were. You think they're not going to let it go 8 rounds? You're crazy. They have to blanket this thing with commercials. They have to blanket this thing with like subliminal advertising. This thing, look how we're starting off. Look at the camera now. There's a scantily clad woman on a black and red runway is wearing a dress thong. I guess this is like a fancy bathing suit right now. Like this is how we're starting this match off right now. This is entertainment. This isn't boxing. This isn't the sport that Carlos used to love, and it's breaking it's breaking his heart right now. This is pure entertainment. This is MMA, and this is a sprinkle of actual athletic competition.
And one thing Jake keeps saying is, it's not like, oh, I want to go out there and show everybody I can knock out. I mean, he has said, I want to knock out Mike Tyson, or he said things like, he'll look real good on the canvas, so I'm standing over him, things like that. But one thing Jake is saying is, I'm going to show everybody that I outboxed Mike Tyson. So he's really, what he's doing is he's trying to take away the fact that he's so old. And he's saying, well, when it comes to boxing and technique, I showed that my technique was better than his. So he offset the age, offset, how long it's been since he's fought. I'm going to go out there and outbox Mike Tyson. So maybe that's another sign that Jake's not going to. Nah, I take that back. He's going for haymakers. Every time Jake fights, he's throwing those right overhands early.
Well, you're talking about like his actual boxing prowess.
Yes.
And let me tell you, that doesn't matter at all. Because this is number one, this is a win for him.
Yeah.
Because he gets 40 milli.
Yeah.
But as far as boxing goes, this is going to be a lose-lose.
Mm-hmm.
Because if he gets beat by Mike Tyson, he gets beat by a 58-year-old guy.
Mm-hmm.
If he beats Mike Tyson,
you beat a 58.
He beat up a 58-year-old guy.
Yeah.
So the only thing is the promotion of his brand and making money and showing that he could put on a giant ass party that people will watch.
Yeah. And just all of these things building up to the fight, I think we've seen a change in energy because all that's real. Like, you're thinking about your money, you're thinking about the reason you're doing it, all the positives. But I think when it comes fight week, that's when those nerves start really kicking in and you're like, all right, marketing or not, I have to do this thing. Like, I got to go out. And I do think the Jake Paul, Logan as well, they're both seemingly really good at that. They're really good at building something up and then embracing the moment when it happens, not shrinking, not being too scared of the spotlight. They both thrive in it.
Yeah.
But as far as Mike's concerned, I mean, he was talking a little bit more before. He's not really talking anymore. He's not saying much. It's just very short. Let's get to the fight. And he's not engaging in anything. So I feel like what he's doing is he's tapping into that zone. He's tapping into that mode where I think he's whether it's a dive or not, he's feeling those voices that kicked in that fight or flight mode. I think he's always fighting that emotion, which is why in his interviews, he's like so like frozen because he's like always trying to balance that fight or flight. And he's like, for the first time in years, I'm supposed to let that rabbit loose.
Yeah.
And I don't want to let him loose right now when this 18-year-old girl is interviewing me and he just went off on her and she's like, what does legacy mean? Oh, that's not the egos. No one cares. That's for blank and blank and blank. And it gets all into his answer. Like, this guy's not all here. This is not the same guy that hosts the Hot Boxing podcast. Like, that mic is, for now, out the window. So, I don't know. If there was a plan for him to take a dive, I think he's going to go against that plan.
The amounts of money that are involved in this fight are astronomical. Is getting $40 million no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson is getting $20 million no matter what happens. Your boy Van, he's fine. I'm comfortable. I'm safe. Got a house. Pay the bills. Got a nice truck. I'm fine.
That's how I want to be.
You know what I would do for $40 million? It's gross. Like the things, the sheer list of things that I'd be willing to do for $40 million would make my mother blush. Like, we're talking about $40 million.
Yeah.
Fight Mike Tyson? That's one of the easiest yeses of all time.
See, now I'm not one who's had my hands on lump sums of money, right? So you really have to break it down. You'd go from 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000 to 500.
Yeah.
Then a 1 million.
What's
then
your number?
40 of those.
Everybody's got a number, Zay.
Before I'd say anything, 10 million.
To fight Mike Tyson?
Oh, to fight Mike?
Oh, you're talking about Jake Paul?
Either of to fight one of those two guys,
to get beat up by a professional boxer.
Yeah, Jake would probably in a boxing match.
My number's way lower.
Yeah,
it's way lower.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, way less.
I'd say 50,000.
Sure,
50,000.
Yeah,
I'll get in there
because this fight's gonna last 30 seconds. I'm gonna go to the doctor. I'm gonna be in the hospital for a couple weeks. And then I'm going to wake up with 50 grand.
Yeah, exactly. All the bills.
Well, bills paid, obviously,
yes.
Because it's going to cost more than $50K to fix me. But yeah, on top of all that, dude, my number is way lower than this.
Lower than 50?
After the fact. Yeah.
Okay.
I would fight Mike Tyson right now. if you could guarantee me I wouldn't die and I would get more than $50K, I'd do it right now.
The A's payroll this season was $63 million.
Of course you bring up the A's.
So what you're telling me is that this man is getting paid $40 million, $20 million less than a professional baseball. I mean, hell, I'd take a punch from Mike Tyson for that.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
What I really want to know is, like guys like Floyd, when they go into negotiations, he's like, well, I'm the A side. That's why I'm demanding this. I'm the A side. I'm the A side.
Sure.
He loves saying that.
You're the draw.
Yeah. In this situation, I don't know if it's because Mike has made more. In all honesty, just because I know Jake was born rich. I mean, he had a huge house growing up. I wonder if what allows Jake to get double of what Mike, maybe it's the lose you said.
It's the production company. It's like he's the one promoting this thing. Like, yeah, exactly. It's not because Jake Paul doesn't have a bigger name than Mike Tyson.
Yeah, not at all.
But his production company that's doing all of it, he deserves more for the effort he's putting in, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
All right, we'll give you highlights of the matches as it comes forward.
Cowboys cheerleaders out there.
They are in Arlington, Texas right now. Just had a performance from the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders, and that is a perfect segue for us to start talking the NFL weekend. NFL talk and Paul Tyson updates when we get back. You're listening to 2 Men On, 95.9 FM, AM 610, the Sports Animal. All right. Enough Tyson Paul talk. I've hit my fill. I've hit my quota.
Yeah.
And now I'm ready to watch it. What I really want to watch is NFL football on Westwood One.
I knew that's what you were going.
This weekend on 95.9 FM and AM 610 Knee Sports Animal. Got some great matchups this week. Zay, Carlos. We're going to have two-part analysis of every game here. Number one, who's going to win?
Mm-hmm.
Number two, is this game watchable? And we're going to start the slate at Sunday morning with my beloved Green Bay Packers going into Chicago. Green Bay Packers are 5.5-point favorites. I don't think that's enough. Caleb Williams is not telling me he is who we thought he was. The Green Bay Packers will demolish the Bears. And if you're not a Packers fan, and if you're not a Bears fan, I don't think this game is watchable.
That's I don't know if I can disagree with anything you said there. I think you're really spot on. I looked at the 5.5 and I thought not enough.
Not enough.
The Bears, I mean, they can't even. The Packers can score a touchdown. The Bears, I don't know if they can score a touchdown right now. So just off that alone, I would take Packers 7 if I could. Caleb's disappointing me this year. He's disappointing me. He's holding the ball too long, and his teammates don't like him.
Hard agree, because number one, I talked him up on this very program.
Yeah, same.
That he had a higher floor and lower ceiling than Jaden Daniels, but he hasn't even hit that floor yet.
Yeah.
He looks like he's lost. He is not getting a lot of help from his offensive line, but as far as this one particular game goes, throw all the predictions out the window. This is a rivalry. This is Packers-Bears. The way the Bears season is going, this might be their Super Bowl. They absolutely have to beat the Packers at home. I don't think they will. I think they will get embarrassed once again. Carlos, who you got? Are you watching this game?
I am not, because it's an 11 a.m. and my Raiders play at 11. But give me the Packers go. Go Pack-O on this one. The Bears had their spell. Jordan Love and the Packers just too good of a team for Chicago.
Hard agree. It's going to be rough for them. Next we go to my Jacksonville Jaguars, my AFC team, my beloved Trevor Lawrence, my beautiful, beautiful sunshine, is also, much like Caleb Williams, not who I thought he was. I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars were going to turn the corner this year. I tell you how sad I am about it every week. They are absolute garbage. This is a college football spread, as the Detroit Lions are 13.5-point favorites at home over the Jaguars. I think, because I am a fool, the Jaguars will cover.
Wow. Yeah, no, the Jaguars are not.
Also, second part, not watchable. If you're not a Lions fan or Jaguar, this is not watchable.
Yeah, I agree. Not watchable. I think the Lions, they're going to always do what they should do to teams as long as Goff isn't throwing interceptions, because they have a dominant run game and they have a dominant offensive line. So with that being the case, you can always kind of consistently weather a storm. I think the Lions will run Jacksonville off the field, and I think they will cover the 14.
Okay.
Give me Detroit as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's so many points, though, for an NFL team. Because if you're up 14 in the third quarter, you're bringing the scrubs in.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You're running a different game plan. You're letting the other team get garbage time points as long as they're running the clock out. Carlos, you feel the same way?
I feel the same. Give me the Detroit Lions to go 9-1 for the first time since Bobby Lane was their quarterback back in the 50s.
Oh.
So give me Detroit, unless you are a Lions fan like my father and sister, or you live in Duval. You ain't watching this game. Give me Detroit. And Doug Peterson will be fired after this game.
Ooh. Continuing the 11 a.m. Mountain slate, the Minnesota Vikings go to Tennessee to embarrass the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. I don't think the Vikings are as good as they've shown, but they keep proving me wrong, and I think they will prove me wrong once again, and they will beat the Titans. Vikings win. And also, unless you're a Vikings fan, this game is not watchable.
Yeah,
Miss me.
I'm right there with you. The Vikings, they did, they've had some closer games than they should, and they lost against a good team, but they're not going to have any issue with Tennessee. I think the -6, I would take that any day of the week. And this game is not watchable.
Carlos, Sam Darnold looked like an MVP candidate early in the season and fell back down to earth. Do the Vikings continue their run?
If it was any other team but the Titans, I'd say no. But
Nice.
Mr. Mayo Man, Will Levis, just can't get it done. Maybe that's why he lost his supermodel girlfriend as well.
I didn't know that happened. Let
She
me,
saw the future.
Let me respond to her messages.
Give me the Minnesota Vikings, but I think it's closer than people think. I think it comes down to the last second for the Vikings.
Oh, so you like Titans plus the points here?
I would take the Titans plus the points. Yeah,
It's 6. It's +6 right now. If you could get it +7.5, I don't hate the Titans right now. What I consider to be the best game of the 11 o'clock schedule, the Baltimore Ravens go into Pittsburgh to battle the best defense in the NFL. The best offense and one of the best defenses versus a middling offense and the best defense in the NFL, division rival. This is a super important game with playoff implications. Out of the bat, this is the best game in the 11 o'clock hour. I can't pick against the Ravens. I pick the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. I pick the Ravens to be the best team in the AFC. I think the Ravens will handle business. They are 3.5-point favorites on the road. This is must-see TV. NFL fan, sports fan. Who do you got, Zay?
I got the Ravens, and I think they know the challenge at hand. They see that the Steelers are also 7-2, and they see that, they're in danger of losing this game, not only in an NFL game, but to your rivals. So I think that Lamar, he seems to have had his head on straight this whole entire year. I think he's going to have them up to the competition. I think we may see one of the best versions of Baltimore we've seen this year.
Carlos, is this the game that Russell Wilson finally gets exposed? Is this the one where we figure out who he really is?
Nope. Quote the Ravens nevermore. Give me the steel curtain and the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Okay, that's a fiery hot take by Carlos right there. If you like the Steelers to win, boy, do I have the bet for you. The Steelers are 3.5-point dogs. If you think they're going to win, take those points and laugh all the way to the bank. Lamar Jackson won the MVP last year, Zay.
Yeah.
He's having a significantly better year this year.
He is. And I think that you didn't expect him to have a better game passing, but that's what we've seen. Better year passing, rather. I think he's been passing the ball awesome this year. One of the games not too long ago, he had, 4 touchdowns and 20 yards rushing.
The Mario music knows that we're coming to a close here. Weren't able to pack out the whole NFL weekend, but lucky for you, you got Lady Lobos coming up right now. Zay, thanks so much for joining us at Safehouse Distilling downtown. Carlos Tenorio, you started soft, but you finished strong, and I really appreciate everything you've done for the program. All the friends of the show out there, stay safe out there this weekend. Going to be a weird night in the boxing world, and go Lobos. See you next week, Burke.
Interrupt this broadcast.
All clear.
All right.